Hey, what's up, guys? Coach Joyce here, author, speaker, certified professional coach, and also Christian life coach. I'm also known as a dream activator because I help women of faith to tap into their purpose and to produce profits from their passion. And so I'm here today to talk to us about something that I think many of us deal with, but we don't really hear much about it. We hear a lot about how to be successful, how to grow a thriving business, how to be wonderful, marvelous, and fantabulous. But no one really talks about failure. And so, or not many people talk about failure. And so I want to talk today about failure, particularly about how I failed and how you can learn from my lessons so you can avoid failure. So I'm just going to dive into about 3 or 4 keys really quickly, and I want to share them with you. The first challenge that I had when it came to failing is that I lacked clarity. So if you want to avoid failing, you're going to have to get really, really clear about what it is that you are called to do in your life. Who are you called to be as a mother, as a wife, as a sister? What are you called to do in your ministry assignment? What is your vocation? What is your calling? Are you a preacher, evangelist, a pastor, a teacher? Are you a community evangelist? Are you the one that needs to go out and be hands-on, in the marketplace? Are you a coach? Are you a mentor? Who is it that you're supposed to coach? So clarity is really, really big, because if you're not clear about what it is you're called to do, who it is you are actually called to serve, and how you are going to serve those people, you will just be fueled by your passion and just go out there in these streets and just start doing anything you can in order to feel fulfilled. And so you want to kind of avoid that. And so when I first started out, I guess it's been some 7 years ago now in my coaching practice, one of the first things that I did was I became certified as a life coach. And so what I discovered about that process, because I just knew I had this greater calling, I had been ministering for 25 years, I've been preaching, I've been evangelizing, I've been traveling the world, and I love all of that. Like, that is clearly a part of who I'm called to be. But when it came time to be called to the marketplace and to start doing things in business, I found myself bifurcated between ministry and marketplace, because I felt I was forsaking my ministry calling if I pursued this marketplace endeavor as a coach and as a speaker and as a life coach, and to be the individual that trained individuals and to help them actually live out their purpose more fulfilling for a paycheck. So I was so used to giving freely in ministry that when it came time to charge and get paid for the business and the marketplace, I found myself walking in the fog and not really having clarity. And so what ended up happening with that is I ended up going into the marketplace just fueled by excitement and fueled by passion, but I was broke. So now here I am working and serving in 2 industries and don't have money in my business because I was unclear about the fact that business is just that, business. And it's okay to be a heart-centered or a faith-filled or a spirit-filled believer and still get your coins and still get paid and still have clients that write you 5-figure checks and still do your programs and actually get funding for that. And so I struggled with that. I actually was even challenged with that, with people who saw me beginning to move in that space and to begin to tell me that I had to choose and I couldn't do both and that I was confusing people and just all the things that came to me with other people's voices. And so because I was unclear, I now started allowing their voices to impact my journey, right? And so clarity, or lack thereof in my case, it caused me to falter. It caused me to not be successful in my business, to end up giving stuff away. In fact, my very first coaching program was $20, just because I wanted to serve, I wanted to give, I wanted to pour out. But it was a business and I was not clear about that. And so, but once I got clear, and what I really used was a post-event survey from my first coaching program. And those individuals were so impacted and so blessed that they were like, what are you doing charging $20 for this? You don't even know your own value. And here you are trying to help us discover ours, right? And so that for me was an aha moment. And so when I realized who I really was, not just in ministry, but also in the marketplace, as a dream activator, as a purpose pusher, as a spiritual midwife, as a practical midwife, as an entrepreneur midwife, then once I got clarity, I was able to have more mobility and therefore more results more income in my business. So clarity is one of the things, or lack thereof, that cause or produce failure in my life and in my business. All right. So you want to get clear. The second thing was confidence, right? And so once I was clear about what I was supposed to do, then I had to struggle with my inner confidence. Confidence really is just your inner assurance in your own ability. So it's knowing that you can do what you say you can do. I've always been a great encourager, a motivator, a helper of other people, always been that person that just dives in with full loyalty and commitment to help others fulfill their goals. I just didn't know it could be a business. I didn't know that. So I was doing it through ministry, but I didn't have the confidence that I needed to make it successful in the business world, because I, again, was always bifurcated between ministry and serving. I just want to help the people, to, okay, this is what the program costs. This is the level of investment. This is what you're going to get as a result. This is what you get to experience once you invest in your own journey. It's not my journey you're investing in, it's your journey. So when I began to understand what the value is, the value that they're getting, and having a few people go through my programs and then, throwing out testimonies and saying how great it is, then my confidence became a little bit more assured, right? Or refortified. And so once I understood, I gained the confidence. And so you need to develop confidence in whatever it is you're going after. Know that you have the ability, that God's already given you the skills, the talents, the gifts to produce what he has called your hands to. So whatever he's called you to do in this life journey, you need to understand that you also not only have the ability, but you have God confidence. And that's what I had to rest on. I had to rest on the fact that I had to have confidence in God, because God gave me this. I had to trust that he knew what he was doing, right? And so knowing that, because how I'm spiritually wired at my core, that helped me to understand and to really gravitate and embrace another level of confidence in who I am. And once I became clear about that, then I began to experience more success. So the first thing I had to get clarity. We talked about that. The second thing is confidence, right? And then I would say that the third thing that was sort of a snare and a hurdle for me, if you will, and the thing that constantly would throw me back, is consistency. Or again, in my case, lack of consistency. Like, you literally cannot produce on a consistent basis if you are not being consistent with what you're doing. There's no consistent crop without consistent seed sowing. And so what I had to understand is, especially as an entrepreneur, like, you really have no days off. And what I mean by that, you've got to have a system in place, some kind of funnel working for you that happens on an automated level. You've got to be talking to people, having conversations, doing networking as an entrepreneur, because you are it, right? You are the gateway to your business. You are the face of your business. You are the brand. You are the voice. You are the visualizer. You are the one that makes things happen. And so everything as an entrepreneur really, really rests on you until you build your team. And even then, it's you that's responsible to making sure the team doing what they're supposed to do. And so being consistent is important in that, because I can't just, if I don't do anything, then I don't get anything. Like, as an entrepreneur, that's just how it is, the reality. So I've got to always be working, ABW, always be working as an entrepreneur. So consistency is so key. So when you're thinking about your own marketplace or ministry endeavors, are you consistent? Because that's the only way you're going to avoid failure. That's the only way you're going to begin to experience a certain level of success, whatever that looks like for you, success. That's the only way you're going to begin to start seeing the fruitfulness that has already been foreordained for you, has already been promised to you before the foundations of the world, when you were just a thought and a seed in your mother's womb. But you have things that you have to do. You've got to get clear, you've got to get your confidence in order, and you've got to learn to be consistent. All right, so consistency. There's a fourth one which is really, really big, was really, really big for me, was compromise. Compromise is really just settling for less than you deserve. Settling for less than you've envisioned or seen for yourself. Compromise is knowing one level exists in you, but because maybe you don't have the support base, because maybe you don't have the confidence, because maybe you don't have the financial backing or whatever it is that keeps you from getting the fullness that you've envisioned, then you begin to settle for less. Okay, well, I'll just take this for now because I know I'm supposed to have that, but I really can't do that right now, so I'll just settle for this. Or you let someone else talk you out of what you deserve. So you compromise. And they say, well, you can't do all of that. Who do you think you are? You can't do all of that. You just need to do one thing. That's what somebody told me. You need to just choose one thing and just do the one thing. You know, what are you going to be? Well, guess what? I'm called to many things. I'm an author, I'm a speaker, I'm a coach. And so as I was really learning to embrace all that I am and all the gifts that God put in me to fulfill all of those things, then I had to begin to walk in a level of being unwilling to compromise. And so one of the first thing that I did was I took my website and I changed it to just my name, JoyceGilmer.com, because I knew that no matter what aspects that I would delve into, it would be able to encompass all that God called me to, because why? I will always be Joyce Gilmer, whether I'm coaching or preaching or teaching. All I have to do at this point is simply add another tab or another page on my website. So y'all can take that tip for free, all right? So you don't have to compromise. It may be about seasons, it may be about timing, it may be about rolling out one or two things at a time, but you don't have to take back from or back down from all that you are called to do. So don't compromise. Walk in the level of greatness that you're called to. Stand tall, stand erect, be bold, be proud, be consistent, and do not compromise. And here is the final one. And this one is probably the death of most of people that do not really experience the level of success that they're called to, and so they land in failure, and that is comparison. Now, I know that we often struggle with comparison because we look at the bright light that seems to be shining over everyone else, and we're sitting here in the dark trying to figure stuff out. And so we're like, oh, I've only written, well, they've got 25 books and I only have one, or I haven't written any. And so you start looking over there on that side of the fence and thinking, oh, I'll never be that great. I don't know how they're doing that. And here's the thing about comparison, guys and gals. If you don't get a handle on comparison, it will absolutely stifle you. It will absolutely make you feel like you are so far behind time, you're never going to catch up. It will make you feel, it will cause you to fail at seeing your own worth and your own value. That's what comparison does. Comparison slowly sucks away at your vision. It slowly drains you. It drains your aspirations. It drains your excitement. It drains your ability to produce at the level that you're called to produce. And so I don't want you to get locked in comparison. I want you to understand that you are uniquely made, that God has given you something very specific for your assignment and the way that He wants you to show up in the earth. And don't compare yourself to others. You may be meek, mild, and soft-spoken. But if you look over the fence and you see the person that's boisterous and loud and they're an extrovert and it looks like they're getting all the engagements and they're getting all the assignment and they have all the anointing, you're going to get confused by that because you're going to begin to think that maybe I have to be that. Maybe if I were louder, maybe if I were smarter, maybe if I had 2 more degrees, maybe if I had this, maybe if I had that. And you start to compare yourself. You know what you do when you do that? You tell God that what He created is not enough, that you're not good enough. And so you don't want to do that. You want to embrace everything that God has called you to do. You want to make sure that you walk with clarity, walk with confidence, don't compromise, and be consistent. And by all means, do not compare yourself to anyone else's journey, but get excited about your own journey. Know who you are and whose you are and what it is He's called you to do, and then figure out a way to walk that plan out one step at a time. Because guess what? Here's the real key. Every step, no matter how small or how great, will eventually lead you to your destination. That's all I'm saying. Every step, eventually leads to your destination. So stop trying to run and catch up with everyone else, but embrace and enjoy and be at peace with the pace of God in your own life. And that is how you're going to begin to experience success and not failure. Well, that's all I got for you today. I hope that you were encouraged by today's message and insight. I hope you took great notes. Be sure to click that button below and subscribe. And don't forget to tell your friends. I'll be back more often. I promise to show up for you if you need help in the area of coaching, of developing your own business ventures, your own entrepreneurial endeavors. You want to become a part of any of my programs, my Dream Activation program, or one-on-one sessions, my mentorship circle that'll be enrolling again in August. You want to be a part of that? Inbox me, email me, and let me know. All right, I'd love to hear from you. Have a wonderful and productive day is my prayer for you.